And welcome to JFP Sports, where fantasy and sports talk lives. Well, Rick, it's a great Thursday night. It's beautiful. It was a beautiful Thursday day, actually. But we have a problem. We have a problem because the Oakland Raiders are playing the San Francisco 49ers. And if you would have told me this matchup 3 months ago, I probably would have said, oh, great. You got Jimmy G, you got Gruden coming back, you got Derek Carr. And now I just don't even want to be in front of the TV set.
Yeah, well, luckily before we get to trash on those two teams, we could jump into some baseball and finally end the World Series. It seems like the baseball season's gone. It always is the longest, especially games, but for some reason, it really felt this year, I guess when the Yankees are just trailing the Red Sox day after day, as Yankee fans, we kind of look at it like we know what the inevitable is, and the inevitable is the Red Sox winning. That's what we got. Real quick, it's kind of ironic that we talked about the Yankees and what they could do, the Astros, what they could do, and the Red Sox really took care of business. The Yankees didn't really have much to say. The hot Astros, who wiped out the Indians, didn't have much to say. And then the Dodgers...
Nor did the Dodgers have much to say.
The Dodgers, it took 18 innings, which I stayed up for all 18 innings. It took them 18 innings to win one game. And then that made it 2-1. And maybe you said, Eduardo Rodriguez is going to start for the Red Sox. Maybe things will change. Maybe this is what changes things for the Red Sox. And it just got worse and worse for the Dodgers. So... I'm going to pose this to you. My answer I'll give you after you go, but is this the best? I definitely think it's the best Red Sox team of all time. Is this the best baseball team of all time?
Best baseball team of all time. I really can't, I know they had the 108 win season, but then again, I can't compare it to as if a 98 Yankee team.
Right, that was one of the teams. I was thinking of the Mariners that won, I think, 116 games in the regular season.
The weakness would still be their bullpen. Now, it wasn't exposed in the 2018 playoffs, but definitely I felt like going into 2019, that's still going to be something that they should probably shore up if they want to repeat as G.
This has to be the best team, I would say, in the last 20 years. If we're talking from the new... especially this turn of the century from 2000 on, this has to be the best team in baseball. They won 108 games, and they ran through two 100-win teams and a very, very, very talented Dodger team. So we could talk about the 98 Yankees. Obviously, that was in the past, but I would say since 2000,
you could make a case for the 2009 Yankees. You had young up-and-coming Robinson Cano. You had Teixeira. You had CC Sabathia, A.J. Burnett when he was A.J. Burnett. And you had Mariano Rivera.
Right. I don't think the reason that was a fantastic team. The reason I don't put that team up with that was I don't think CC was towards the back end of his prime. A.J. Burnett was pretty much done at that point. You got one or maybe two seasons left after him. Teixeira was always banged up. You had Jeter at the end. Right. You didn't have when we look at the Red Sox, you have a dominant Chris Sale. I realistically, the way Price pitched his last two starts, he's got another 4 or 5 years in him. Mookie Betts is in his prime. I don't know how JD Martinez got a 1-year deal for all these years because he was an MVP candidate for a while. You're young. You've got Bogarts, Devers. Pierce was a nice addition. So you're young. I think a lot of these guys are in their prime. You have to make them the early favorite for next year as well.
No, absolutely. And especially in the AL East. The Yankees still haven't shored up the starting pitching. Well, not yet. It's only been 1 week.
Right. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Yankees, too. You have Britton, who's a free agent. The bullpen's going to take a hit.
You have to believe he's going to be gone.
As we move down, Toronto's in a rebuild stage. So you're probably going to see the likes of the Vladdy Guerrero, Bochette come up. Other than that,
Guerrero.
Yeah.
They have some young kids.
No, they have some guys, but again, it all comes down to pitching. I believe the only other viable contender in that AL East is the Tampa Bay Rays because they give everyone such problems, and now their youth is going to be full in effect. You have another year of Willie Adames. You have another year of Bowers.
Yeah,
and you might. Does Honey Brentwell come back?
I think he will be back.
Right. I think he'll be back like
too.
mid-May or something
Yeah.
of that nature.
I would have liked to see. I know they got a nice package back,
especially in that Pittsburgh deal.
Right, and that's what I was getting to. I would have liked to see Archer stay because I think that's the best 1-2 punch.
Absolutely.
Definitely in the AL East.
And another year of Snell.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. Archer and Snell would have been a nice 1-2 punch. Yeah. Unfortunately, and imagine they even had Eovaldi going forward.
Well, could you make a case that actually by the deadline, that was one of the underrated moves, sending Eovaldi to the Boston Red Sox?
Had Steve Pearce not gotten a tear, Game 4 and 5, Nathan Eovaldi would have won MVP because of what he had done Game 1 and Game 2, which was instrumental.
And the willingness to come out of the pen.
But then he comes, right, he was getting ready. People think about it in baseball, this is how many innings you pitched. But as a starter, think about all the innings you're throwing before you even start. That's 30, 40 pitches before you start. Now you're doing that out of the bullpen, and Eovaldi threw a legitimate 6-7 innings that night when they lost in 18. Excuse me. So, he probably would have been the MVP. But I mean, just what could have been for Tampa Bay with the 1-2-3. Look at the way Eovaldi pitched, and Archer, who was dominating, really didn't work out for the Pirates, but he was dominating.
Yeah, and one of the key pieces that I love that they got back in the Pittsburgh deal is the outfielder, Austin Meadows. I believe he's going to be a stud. It's just he couldn't be one there. It had the Yankee problem of too many outfielders.
Right.
Polanco
with Marte
and those guys. So and you still have the ex Tampa Bay Ray Dickerson.
Right, who's actually he was pretty good
well.
last. Yeah.
So I believe they had a supply where they could get rid of some depth, where they could get rid of it.
It was a good trade for both, I think.
Absolutely, and I believe that Tampa Bay, Dean Annis, I know Dean Annis has a little bit of the flu bug behind the glass, but we're
happy he's here.
We're happy he's here. He never takes an off day, even though he's the man that never speaks.
Right.
But yes, I believe that they will be a force in the AL East. But moving on, for hot stove wise, do you see any moves that either the Yankees, we touched on the Red Sox, that should be made? I mean, I know a lot of people want to throw out Machado, but things that are necessary.
Yeah. I'd like to see the Yankees get another lefty starter. Look, are they going to trade? I don't think they're going to trade for anyone. I'd like to see. Does J Happ have another year? Is he with us?
No, he's a free agent. Him and Britton are free agents.
Well, I think Britton could be gone.
That's why we got him so cheap because they were rentals.
I think I'd like to see Happ re-sign, and I think is this reasonable? 3 years, $45 million? Is that too much?
No, actually, I think that's perfect.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
I mean, because at the end of the day, starting pitching is always a need in the league itself. And somebody of Happ's quality right now, a lefty who could probably last longer, Andy Pettitte type. Those lefties last till they're 40. But
right, those rubber arm guys.
Right, and they're not throwing very hard. They're throwing 92, 93 and spotting the ball. It's all about location with those guys. Yeah. And lefty-wise, it always comes out a little different. So I believe Happ will stay, but I think the big key for them, I know it's taking a little bit of risk and going on the edge, Patrick Corbin. I know he's pitched in...
Yeah, and you've been on the record saying that for a while.
I know he's pitched in Arizona, and I always liked him. He had a couple of arm issues. I believe Tommy John, like what's new. But it's like saying, did you sneeze today? But
no, yeah.
But definitely going forward, that is somebody that they're going to need, especially going against the Red Sox, especially going against the upstart Tampa Bay Rays and the up-and-coming Toronto Blue Jays. They're going to need pitching and lefty pitching preferably.
Yeah. Look, baseball is one of those sports where I guess the Red Sox make it easy to say that they should be the favorite next year, but even they have bullpen issues. You have guys that, Eduardo Nunez just opted in. That actually seemed like a team that really wanted to play together. There are some teams where the talent's just so, over the top that they win anyway. But look, one team I want to look at in particular are the Chicago Cubs.
Okay.
That's a team that really, really needs bullpen help.
Oh, absolutely.
Pedro Strop is not a World Series closer. I like what he's done this year, but he's not a World Series closer. I like Carl Edwards back there. But again, are those the guys you want to go with for 8 and
absolutely
in the back of the bullpen? I mean, Strop missed a bunch of time. Then they try to get him back. Carl Edwards was hurt. I think Zach Britton would be perfect for the Chicago Cubs.
And especially Theo, knowing, seeing him when he was with the Red Sox and all those years of Britton in the AL East, that definitely I could see happening. Actually, we got some news. Marco Gonzalez just signed a 2-year deal with the Mariners. So he's staying put there.
Yes, so at the same time, we look at the Red Sox, we look at the Cubs, we look at some of these.
It just tells how needy pitching is. The Mariners already inking a guy with Marco's injury history. That's definitely a need for them.
Yeah, I don't know. Out of all the guys you can get, I don't know why you'd want Marco Gonzalez.
Well, he wasn't bad. He was journeyman type.
He wasn't good.
Okay, but you know what? Sometimes you need some kind of stability.
You need a bad player once in a while to balance. You can't have 25
I
good
look
guys.
at it as there's 9 innings, right? 9 innings a game, if you really, think about it. 9 times 162. Okay?
Yeah, well, I don't know what the math is, but that's
1,458 innings.
Well, he's good for about 100 of those.
Okay, but someone's
because he's guaranteed to get hurt. He's guaranteed to get hurt, or he's guaranteed to pitch bad.
I remember when he was a big prospect coming up in St. Louis.
You know who I just saw? Manny Benuelos.
Oh my God, the killer beast.
You loved him.
Loved him.
Betances, Benuelos, and who was the other clown?
Brackman.
Oh, and Brackman,
Andrew
right. So
Brackman.
One guy turned out of the Triple Bs.
And he became a bullpen guy.
Right, one guy. So that was, the Yankees are banking on him and Jesus Montero. That was going to be the battery for a long time. Meanwhile, I think Jesus Montero, he signed on to work at Krispy Kreme the way he looked the last time I saw him. But let's move on to a big story in the NFL. Dean Annis brought us this question. I didn't think we'd actually be talking about it. But we get to week 9 in the NFL.
Okay.
The question he gave us for the week: can the Rams go undefeated? And if they can, what would be their biggest hurdle? I'll let you go first.
Okay. Well, I do think they have a chance to go undefeated.
Right. I think he meant more, are they going to go undefeated? Because they can.
I believe they will go undefeated. Now, I'm going to just go out there on the limb and say, yeah, because their offense just produces that much.
They did have a test, though.
Yes, they did have a test, but thank God for they're sending Ty Montgomery
to my card. Ravens. Right. Let me ask you this before we get to the Rams, and if whatever else you have to add. Realistically, there's no way the Rams win that game if Aaron Rodgers has the ball. Do you want to see Aaron Rodgers with? I think it was like 155. I don't know how many timeouts, but I don't really care. 155 and how many ever timeouts going down the field on a defense that they've already moved the ball. This wasn't 14-13 where they've struggled. You knew Aaron Rodgers was scoring. And teams get lucky. We talk about like the Red Sox in Houston.
Yeah.
The home run that bets the fan interference. And then you have Benintendi diving to make the play. Then you have the Dodgers. They have to win in 18. Good teams that get lucky, it's really, really hard for the other teams to overcome that. But let's be honest. I'm thinking Aaron Rodgers comes down, gives them their first loss, but Ty Montgomery provided us with different details on this Thursday.
And now he's playing for your Ravens, so that's great.
You know what? He's an upgrade. He's a legitimate upgrade. He's a wide receiver.
And let's not forget, he was great in the slot from Stanford before they converted him to a running back. I mean, I know you guys got Buck Allen, and
he's a better running back than Buck Allen. He might even be better than Alex Collins.
But now that's another weapon for Joe Flacco. I love the move for Baltimore.
That's 2020 7th round pick. What were you getting anyway? You were getting Jesus Montero with the donut machine.
It was good for both
2020
because Montgomery could never show his face at Lambeau again, and the Ravens needed another piece.
Well, if you're Ty Montgomery,
why are you taking the ball out?
It was confusing to me. if you're told not to take the ball out in the end zone, there are some guys when you have like a Patrick Peterson or a Devin Hester, and they take it out regardless.
And you don't care because it could be a home run.
Right. Ty Montgomery doesn't have that breakaway speed. If you're Ty Montgomery, realistically, I hear everyone, he was going to be in the end zone, take a knee. Hello, if he just lets the ball go, it's in the end zone. I don't know what everyone's talking about taking a knee. He could just let the ball go. He could run away. Which half the guys
do in the beginning of the game. They
just I understand it was close. He wasn't 5 yards deep, but what are you doing? But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Rams undefeated, yes or no? What's their biggest hurdle?
Yes. But if they were to lose to someone.
Is it this week?
No.
They're playing the Saints.
No. It's the Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
In Mexico.
In Mexico.
Week 11, I believe that is.
Okay, so first of all, we've got the neutral site working for us. Number 2 is...
Well, which side are you taking? Are you taking the Rams going undefeated?
I feel, though, the Rams will go undefeated, but if there were someone they could lose to, it would be the Chiefs. I don't say it's the Saints because the Saints' defense is pitiful, but you could probably make the same case for Kansas City. The only thing is...
But going to New Orleans is tough.
I understand that. But at the same time, I believe it's just too much girly. It's just too much. So
go out on a limb. They're going undefeated.
They're going undefeated.
Because you're playing both sides here.
No, because I'm saying if I could see them,
sure what you're doing.
If I could see them lose to a team, it'd be the Kansas City Chiefs. But I stake my claim on they will go undefeated just because I know the corners are out. Sam Shields, I hated him in Green Bay. He's all right. He's doing fine right now. The defense is doing just enough, and just that offense is just it's not even called the best show on turf anymore. It's called the best show on surf. So
yeah, I'm really happy you changed from you didn't even go from like you went from T to S. You didn't even have to go all the. It's not like you said turf to perf or something. You just switch to one letter. That's good.
What do you think? Because I think they're going undefeated.
They're not going undefeated.
Okay.
What I saw from the Green Bay Packers is and the Packers are okay. I mean, they have the best quarterback, I think, on the planet, and I think they're 3-3-1. I think. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So that's good. 3-3-1 with the best quarterback. They're average. They're playing average. Are they legitimately the Packers are the third best team in that division? Are they not?
Yes. With Rodgers, yes.
Yeah. So the Vikings and the Bears are ahead of them. So look, we take a look at the Green Bay Packers. They did a number on the LA Rams, and we think that, and in my opinion, the Packers would have definitely won that game. So look, they showed some deficiencies. Yes, no Cooper Kupp, but at the same time. I'm going to say the Rams don't go undefeated. I'm going to say the Rams lose 2 games.
Ooh.
I say 14-2.
Okay.
The first one is going to be this weekend.
Okay. In New Orleans.
In the Big Easy. The New Orleans Saints started off very, very slow. Ryan Fitzmagic, week 1, and they barely held on versus the Browns when they should have lost. If the Browns had a kicker, they would have lost. They would have been 0-2.
Right.
The Saints have been on a tear. This is where, right now, I think we have a 2-headed MVP race. Would we agree with Mahomes and Gurley? I think it's 1-2, 2-1, however you want to look at it. Would that be accurate?
No, I think that's very accurate. I also think that...
whether it's Gurley, Mahomes, Gurley, it's clearly those two. I think Drew Brees stamps his name, and he makes it a 3-horse race. And that's why I say that I think he's going to light them up. The other game is that Chiefs game. I say they lose that one too. If we're taking offenses, the Chiefs have a better offense than the Rams.
Oh, without a doubt. It's the Chiefs, Rams, Saints.
Especially if Tyreek Hill is, the groin
right
strain.
Now he's limited in practice.
Right, but by then you assume, I know the soft tissue things are tough, but you assume he'll be fine. They're not going undefeated. I say they go 14-2. And the Chiefs go 15-1. But we'll see.
All right. So moving ahead. All right. We have the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins.
At least we don't have to talk about the Giants this week.
Yes, the Giants, they won this week already. You know why? Because they're on a bye.
They won. You know why they won? Because Saquon gets to go home to his lovely girlfriend, and Odell Beckham gets to hang out with his lovely mom, and they don't have to get hit while doing so. They don't have to lose. Meanwhile, Odell did have a nice game.
He did.
But what did I say? I said on air, Redskins, they rolled. Adrian Peterson, what was he, 23 or 33 or whatever he
AP,
don't buy
all
in.
day.
Don't buy in.
No. He might break a back next week.
Right. But Jets and the Dolphins, what do you got for me? What are you looking for? What do you got?
Right now, the line is looking -3 Miami with Brock Osweiler under.
He's been pretty good for them, I have to say.
And you know what, Jets fans, I'm sorry to say, I see Miami pulling it out. I see a low.
Are they covering?
Game.
Are the Dolphins covering? Are the Jets covering? Are they? What are we doing?
Push.
Okay, push.
3.
Okay.
So I would say they win by 3. I'm gonna say it's gonna.
I'd say it's low scoring.
12-9.
All right, it's not going to be 12-9. There
no
hasn't been a
touchdown.
game this season where there hasn't been a touchdown.
Ricky P, there has been a game with no touchdown.
Which one was it?
I think it was week 3 of Jacksonville and the Titans. It was all kicking.
Oh, 9-6.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe we even had that game. Well, it's ironic. I guess it did
12-9.
12-9. If it ends up how about this? If it ends up
12-9.
Right, he already owes me a high chew from last week because on air I said Kenyon Barner's pretty much a loser, and Kenyon Barner I think got 3 snaps. Did he even record? Did he?
Point four points.
Did that lose you the week?
Yes.
Oh,
I was down 30 going into.
And you had him and Edelman, right?
Yeah, Edelman got me 20.
Edelman was solid.
So you would say, okay, get me 11. Get me 11 because 31.
Well, you know what it was? It was they were winning by so much. I figured they'd get him the ball. They did not. They saw the Bills saw Kenyon Barner and said, "I guess we're playing the Patriots 53-52 this week," because Kenyon Barner was a no-show.
Yeah.
I've never seen a bigger fantasy bust for a week.
Right.
But again, we talk about the Patriot running backs, and you can't trust those guys. But look, back to the question. Jets against the Dolphins. What the Jets won't have a Nunwa again. Mm-hmm. They're not going to have Robbie Anderson. Terrell Pryor came out today, who just signed with the Bills.
Yeah,
he says I was underused and undervalued. How are you undervalued with a bunch of losers? Your best weapon is Chris Herndon. How could
Chris
you?
Herndon.
This
from the U.
Yeah, I don't care where he's from.
At this point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
By the way, he's returning.
Right. Oh, great. He's returning.
In
Meanwhile, again, this is. I'm gonna say it again because you haven't. You're finally getting on the right track here. We're halfway through the season. By far, the worst skill position group in football.
Wait. Yeah. No.
No, they are
actually making a point right now.
I've said it. Am I? Can you say on air that I was right?
He said it. You said it.
There's no one, folks, women, men, children, anywhere you are, please find me, send in a DM, email us, comment on the YouTube videos. Please find me a personnel group of skill position players that
right
are
now
worse.
Are coming into the season.
That are worse. At any point, I told you going into the season they'd be the worst. Your best skill player was arguably Bilal Powell, and unfortunately he's hurt.
I just want to say one thing. We had all these trade deadline transactions yesterday.
What are the Jets? They're going to make a move? Who are they going to make?
They couldn't have gotten a Deshaun Jackson. They couldn't have gotten.
No, well, the Bucks came out and said they're not trading it.
Oh, God.
Think about it. Okay, that's a good point. Before I give you my prediction.
Somebody that he could kind of,
But what's the point if you're the Jets?
All right.
You're not going anywhere.
But you need somebody for him to grow with. You know what I mean? He's not growing with
anybody. But if Deshaun Jackson's gone by the end of the year, he's not growing with him. You know what Deshaun Jackson's doing? He's dropping passes because the weather's so cold.
No. Whoa! You can't say that because he did play in Philadelphia for 5 years.
Yeah, the two best games he had was
Washington.
The two best games that he had as an Eagle was the punt return game against the Giants and the game where Michael Vick thought he was the second coming of Aaron Rodgers down in Washington. And Deshaun Jackson, I think, had 80,000 fantasy points.
Shady, yeah.
Right. So don't tell me Deshaun Jackson's a quality wide receiver.
I'm not saying he's Jerry Rice, but I'm just saying it's someone he could build with.
It's not building if he's gone. Okay, but back to my point. Golden Tate.
Yeah,
goes
that
to
was
the
a good
Eagles.
move. That was a
Okay,
good move.
Demarius Thomas goes to the
Texans.
hottest, maybe one of the hottest teams.
Is that a weird situation? Or
Yeah,
what?
they're 0-3. They're 5-3.
No. What's like?
Demarius Thomas?
No, like they are going to go play Denver. So he had to leave Denver, go to Houston, then come
Well,
back to Denver.
it's ironic it's great for you don't think Demarius Thomas is going to give them their whole game plan?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
and the other move, Amari Cooper to
We'll get
Dallas.
this later. Yeah.
I think Amari Cooper.
I love that move.
I don't like the move for the first round pick.
I know it's a lot, but think about it this way.
He's young.
Dallas would probably be drafting anyway somebody in the first round. Are they better than Amari Cooper? Talent-wise. I know he hasn't been produced the past 2 seasons. But coming out, think about it this way. Who else would you be?
Well, I can't listen to you. You know why?
Mean?
You gave me Corey Davis for 2 years.
What do you mean? Corey Davis has Mariota. That's not my problem.
You gave me Central Michigan. You gave me Antonio Brown 2.0.
If Corey Davis was with
I don't want to hear you anymore.
If he was with Matthew Stafford, it would be better.
We're halfway through the season, just about. Who's been more right on football stuff this year? I'll give you Patrick Mahomes because I was wrong. You haven't been right on. I gave you the Jets were going to be awful.
What am I not allowed to be right? I'm allowed to be wrong now?
You've been wrong the whole season.
Yeah, I know. I've been wrong the whole season. Who told you about Patrick Mahomes?
I just gave you Patrick Mahomes. Who gave you the Jets? Who gave you the awful Giants?
I've been right on saying the Jets do have those clunker games, though. I will say
but every Jet fan can do that. But anyway, in all seriousness.
Going back to this Jet Miami.
No, I like the Dolphins.
Scoring. I like the Dolphins.
I'll say 20. I'll say I'm not. I would never pick a game with no touchdowns. I'll say 21-13.
Okay,
but I say it's like 21-6, and the Jets get like a garbage touchdown or something like that.
I feel like it's a Darnold 4-interception game.
Did I not tell you Sam Darnold was going to lead the league?
You told me that too. Jeez.
I'll just say I've been right more times than you have.
You've been right, but I haven't been counting. So.
Oh, right. Well, the listeners know. All right. Fantasy starts and sits.
Okay, my friend.
You give me. You're going to be wrong anyway. So
yeah, I know.
The listener should just do the opposite.
Okay, I'll do my sit first. So who I'm sitting? I'm sitting Marvin Jones from the Detroit Lions, and here's
that's
why.
ironic.
And I know it's
who I happened to let go by accident.
Right,
but he's the number one now.
Yeah, he is the number one.
Him and Galladay, I guess,
him and Galladay are
1A, 1B.
1A and 1B. The thing is, you're going up against Xavier Rhodes, probably for most of the game. And he did go off on them last Thanksgiving. Okay, but
the Lions always play well on Thanksgiving. We've said this before. Calvin Johnson always played against me Thanksgiving. I literally looked at the projections.
Oh, he goes off.
And I doubled them.
Remember that Eagle game?
I think he had like 3 touchdowns, 200-something yards. Whatever his projections are, I doubled it. But continue. Right, it's not Marvin Jones on Thanksgiving.
Right, it's not Marvin Jones on Thanksgiving. The Minnesota Vikings are actually playing better defense.
And they need a big week. They had the
coming
Saints.
Off a loss.
They had the Saints.
And you're playing Detroit.
Thielen fumbled, and Stephon Diggs started stop the route.
And once Matthew Stafford is a nice quarterback while he's winning, but coming back, he'll force the ball. Too many interceptions. Kind of reminds me of Darnold. So I'm going to take the Vikings in that matchup. But sit-wise, I'm sitting Marvin Jones.
I'm going to sit, before we get to our starts, I'm going to sit Amari Cooper. A lot of people might... Mm-hmm. I think Marvin Jones is a better sit candidate in terms of if you're not sure. If you're Amari Cooper, I understand there's 6 teams on bye, but at the same time, you've really got to understand what... Amari Cooper's actually been on 2 bye weeks. So at the same time, we got to look at Amari Cooper. We've got to say he's on a new team. And right now, the Dallas Cowboys are, look, they don't have a passing game. Dak Prescott struggles to throw the ball to begin with. Now he's got Amari Cooper. We don't know if he knows the playbook. We don't even know what the Cowboys are doing offensively. So I'm going to sit Amari Cooper.
Yeah, no, you definitely got to sit Amari
Even though
Cooper.
there are 6 teams on bye this week.
And now you think Dallas has a number 1, actually, and Malcolm Butler of Tennessee is going to be on him like a fly on you-know-what. So definitely you sit Amari Cooper. I like that. I think it's going to be a heavy Zeke Elliott game. Also,
as it should be.
As it should be, definitely those power O's and counters. And, I think this is a great Dallas game, too. I think they're going to really give it to Tennessee. Tennessee hasn't really shown me. They got some fluke wins during the year, but I definitely see the Cowboys coming out with this one. Who's your start?
My start is going to be Cortland Sutton. Look, I don't want to say you were right because we haven't.
Oh wait, that was another one I was right on.
No. Wait, I gave you. We picked our 2 rookies. You gave me Cortland Sutton. I gave you Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley's been better.
Right now, yes, but Sutton I think is going to.
Okay,
but we both are right. We're both right.
I'll give you the right if he pans out. I picked up Cortland Sutton. I think he's going to turn out.
Waiver claim?
Yeah, waiver claim. I think he's going to turn out pretty well. But at the same time, I'm going to start Cortland Sutton. He obviously knows the playbook. He's just going to be in that X spot now. So I like Sutton, and I like the Broncos this week, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow. I actually like the opposite. I like the Houston Texans, and I'm going to go with Demaryius Thomas. I think it's facing his former team. I know it's a short week for him to learn anything, but hey.
That was my concern.
Right. An out route is an out route. Drag route is a drag route.
If it's simple, right? If they give, you know what? It's one of those things. Sometimes in these situations where they might just say, "Look, run a 10-yard curl." Like they'll tell the play in the huddle, and then they'll have to tell him what the route is, especially if it's so simple.
And
if it's a go route, whatever it is.
The weakest point to the Denver defense is their corners. Bradley Roby, Chris Harris is great in the slot, but if he's have to put on man to man, I don't.
They really could have used Aqib Talib.
Yeah, no, well, that went to the wayside going to L.A. But other than that, yeah, the Denver defense isn't the same. Pass rushing wise, they're still good with Chubb and Von Miller on the bookends. But other than that, I see a big game for Demaryius Thomas.
Fine. We're done with football for now. Let's move forward to some NBA talk. Early headlines. Every team's played between 8 and 10 games, so we've got a nice sample size. Has anything really hit you on the mark early on? Any surprises? You told me the Raptors were going to be good.
That the LA Lakers stink.
Yeah, the LA Lakers definitely stink.
How do you start out 0-3 and you got the king?
They don't play any defense. Yeah. At least they won last night. LeBron hit one of his 2 free throws that he needed to make. I'm not sure what Wesley Matthews is doing. They're in the bonus, so he chooses to foul them, which was interesting. But I guess your take is the Lakers. My 2 biggest takes, we're finally reminded of who Kawhi Leonard is up in Toronto. He's a better player than DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan fits the Spurs very well, but Kawhi Leonard is a superstar. I think Kawhi Leonard is the second best player in the NBA behind LeBron when healthy. And the other takeaway is Steph Curry not exploding at this point. Steph Curry shooting 57% from the field, 53% from 3, averaging 33 a game. The early front runners for MVP are Steph Curry and Giannis, the Greek freak. But if Steph Curry continues to keep this up, he's going to be the MVP. I don't know if he could continue to keep it up. I mean, shooting 53% from 3, but at the same time, I like Steph. He's hot right now.
Oh, absolutely. Also, too, that Warrior team is just unbelievable. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and I'm saying, like, what is the point of watching the NBA anymore? I'm being so seriously. What's the point of watching the NBA anymore? You know who's going to win. I could close my eyes.
But it's about, it's kind of about the journey, though. It's about the journey because it's going to see who moves forward. Does Kevin Durant stay with the Warriors? Where does Klay Thompson go? What happens with all these moves? So at the same time, I think it's about the journey. We know who's going to win.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then moving forward, I know you guys were reaching out to me and you wanted to put in a little more wagering, some betting lines. So for the NFL, Ricky's going to give you his top 3. I'm going to give you my top 3. And we're going to start with me first. I love the Texans +1. I love that. In Denver, I think the Texans are just the better team, and they're getting plus. I love it. Chargers in Seattle +2. Again, the better team right now, the better quarterback, and the more weapons, and the better defense, but the pass rush. I believe the Chargers +2 is the way to go. My third one, Rams +1. I know Ricky had stated it's in New Orleans, but you know what? Again, I'm going with the better team, and they're getting plus.
They are the better team.
They're going to be undefeated, and I think it's just going to be Gurley all day.
Yeah, I just think the Packers kind of weakened them up a little bit, so I'll take the Saints -1. I'm also going to take the Patriots -5.5. The Patriots did not play very well on the road at the Bills. So at the same time, I'm going to take the Patriots minus 5.5. I know it's Brady versus Rodgers, but the teams aren't really comparable. I think the Patriots really step out. Could be the most anticipated Sunday night matchup of the year, not counting the Chiefs-Patriots because we didn't know about them coming in, but I like the Patriots big, and I like the Seahawks. Look, this is an opposite what you're going with. You're taking, again, I think the better team. I'm going to take the situation. The Seahawks are hot right now. Russell Wilson, David Moore has come out of nowhere. They're running the ball with Carson, Baldwin. Look, I like the Seahawks, and that defense is stepping it up, so I'll take the Seahawks.
Okay, and that's your 3.
Seahawks minus 2, Patriots minus 5.5, Saints minus 1.
Okay, that's great. All right, folks, it's been a great show. Please subscribe to JFP Sports on YouTube channel. Add us on IG at JFP Sports and DM us your questions. We will always answer on air. In the great words of Dr. Seuss, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Till next time.